kerkjes bekijken.
De grote?
De grote kerkjes zullen we zo zien.
5 billion years ago, when the solar system was forming, the Earth solidified as a swirling nebula of dust and gas that collapsed under its own gravity. Then, as gravity kept pulling on different molecules, the Earth formed its spheroid shape made up of different shell layers. In fact, even though we sometimes think of it as being separate from the Earth, the atmosphere is really the first and lightest shell with its own set of layers. At the bottom of the atmosphere, things start to feel more solid, and we hit Earth's crust. Compared to the rest of the planet, the crust is extremely thin and has a low density, which is how tightly packed the molecules are that make up something. Particles of the original gas and dust that ended up in the Earth's crust became the minerals, or inorganic naturally occurring chemical compounds with a crystalline structure, and rocks, solid collections of minerals that we find on the planet today. There are actually two types of crust on Earth: continental crust and oceanic crust. Continental crust makes up the major land masses on Earth that are exposed to the atmosphere. It's made of light-colored and lightweight rocks rich in silicon and alumina, which help make it the least dense layer besides the atmosphere, but not the thinnest. That would be the oceanic crust, which is what forms the vast ocean floors. Oceanic crust is made of heavy, dark-colored, iron-rich rocks that also have a lot of silicon and magnesium. It's denser than the continental crust, but only a few kilometers thick. Beneath the crust is the much thicker mantle. It's
Dus het land, de aardkorst van het land is dikker, maar minder vast, minder compact. Dan de zeeaarde is dunner, maar compacter. Eigenlijk niet zo raar.
Ja.
Het is meer druk.
Meer druk inderdaad.
stretches for roughly 2,900 kilometers and is rich in elements like iron, magnesium compounds, and combinations of silicon and oxygen called silicates. The mantle is so thick, it actually gradually changes density as we go deeper into the Earth. The lower mantle is closer to the center, where pressure is higher, so it's denser as everything is pushed together. The last layer in our journey to the center of the Earth is the core, made of iron and nickel. The 2,400 kilometer thick outer core is so hot, all that iron becomes molten and turns to liquid. But the hot, dense inner core of iron with a radius of 960 kilometers is always solid because of the tremendous pressure. No one has been to the center of the Earth, but scientists study how seismic waves from earthquakes travel through the planet to model the Earth's interior. And learning about what Earth is like on the inside helps us learn about earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, how continents formed, and even about the origin of the planet itself. Some of the elements show up a lot, but each layer has a distinct chemical composition and
Zoals we
temperature,
centrum
and
zitten,
each
denk je
one
al van ja, het is niet zo heel erg dat we daar niet heen.
Nee, het is wel heel grauw.
Dus dit hebben we dan
its own way helps give us the rocks and landforms we see on the surface. Like here, high in the Himalayas, where a large chunk of granite is newly exposed on the surface. During the day, its grains glint in the sun, and as night falls, the rock blends into the darkness. An occasional boat clambers on its rounded dome, searching for a tuft of rocks. It seems innocuous enough, but seeing granite here means that at some point in time, eons ago, volcanic activity was transforming the surface. Within the Earth's crust and beneath the surface is magma, or molten rock, that can cool and solidify into igneous rock. Igneous rocks make up about 90% of the Earth's crust, though you might not notice because they're often covered by other types of rocks, soil, or ocean. We actually end up with different types of igneous rocks depending on whether magma cools above or below Earth's surface. dust and all the tiny sediment particles that used to be on the shore of the sea were also dragged down where they melted into